My name is Edwin Sifuna. I'm your senator here in Nairobi. I'm also the deputy whip of the minority in the Senate, and that's the reason why I came late. I want to apologize. I came late because we have sittings in the morning on Wednesdays, and as a whip, it's my responsibility to ensure that the sessions don't collapse due to lack of quorum. So I had to make sure that the session begins before I come here. Karoli has also reminded you that I am still the SG of ODM, and we will address those issues shortly. But first of all, Ndindi, there is no one in this room who thinks that when we are talking about the 125 people who are richer than the 43 million of us, that Sifuna is on that list. I just happen to be sitting next to you because I've seen some articles about shareholders of Kenya Power and this dividend manenos. We will address them very shortly. The conversation that is going on Parliament now is actually the debate on the President's State of the Nation address, and it is a critical conversation. I am actually very happy to have come to this particular launch because I believe that the State of the Nation is the state of the people. And luckily for me, I have not yet gotten my opportunity to debate. And the people at Oxfam, all I can say is you don't know what you have done. You don't know what you have done. Because with this report, this is a very powerful weapon. All I usually tell people is just hand me the bat. I will swing that bat. Because the statistics that we are seeing here are grim statistics. When you look at Article 132 on what the President is expected to do in the State of the Nation, he's supposed to tell us all the measures taken and the progress that has been achieved by his government in realizing the values in Article 10 that Karoli Omondi has spoken about. And if you look at those articles, in fact, human dignity, equity, social justice, and equality are some of those, that he's supposed to tell us what he has done in the past 3 years to realize this. Unfortunately for me, when I see this report, I can actually state without fear of contradiction that this report is what should have been presented in Parliament as a State of the Nation, not the other one that was read there. And my key takeaways, as my colleagues have also said, one, Ndindi and another 124 people, richer than 43 million of us, 40%, 46% of the Kenyans living in extreme poverty, 70% facing hunger, that Kenya's wealth is not missing, is actually being siphoned by the people in power. And that Nairobi, the capital, the people that I lead, is the most unequal county in Kenya. And if you just look at for instance, the question of education that he has spoken about, 70% of the school-going children in Nairobi actually are in formal schools. And the inequality that results from that is that, first of all, the Ministry of Education does not recognize those institutions as schools. So they don't get any support from the government. They are called up-bed schools. Now, we have had a conversation with the Member of Parliament for Mathare, and he has sponsored a bill to amend the Education Act in order that these schools are recognized by national government. Because some of the criteria there for registration of a school does not make sense in Nairobi. If you ask somebody for 4 acres of land in Mathare to register a school, where are you getting 4 acres of land in Mathare? And I'm happy to say that because the bill has to come to the Senate, I am also going to co-sponsor that bill in the Senate to make sure we recognize this school and get them the support they need. Secondly, we have a school feeding program here in Nairobi. It gobbles up almost 1 billion shillings of what Nairobi gets in terms of its equitable share. But because it is only implemented in the primary schools that are registered, it means we are only using that money to feed 30% of the school-going kids. We have had a conversation with the governor of Nairobi from the time he was elected. In fact, it was a campaign promise that this school feeding program has to be extended to the upbed schools, because those kids also deserve that meal. And it is our taxes, it is our allocation as Nairobi. It is very unfair that we use 1 billion annually to only feed 30% of our kids. So there are conversations going. When he comes to the Senate, he gives us stories about how he's going to introduce a program where at lunchtime, the kids from the informal schools are allowed to go into the public schools and have lunch there.